Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week I'm unboxing a new toy. See you in a minute. Now this package has just arrived. I'd thought for some while about getting a branding iron to mark items that I'd made or passed on to other people, and then decided that I'd probably need two because it would be good to have one with many sheds on it. And I started looking at laser engravers, and this came up at a relatively cheap price, so I thought I'd have a go and explore the world of laser engraving. So let's have a look at what's in the package. I'll just get into this. It's the problem with any of these CNCs and lasers is generally that you only get a very small bed area on a cheaper machine, so that you can't put a very large item in there to engrave it. This item is one that sits on top of the workpiece, so it means that you can have something as big as this, and although you can't engrave a large area, you can put a logo or something anywhere you like, and it won't be constricted by the size of the machine itself. User manual, which will no doubt be in Chinglish, which is a sort of Pidgin English, but it does give some sort of indication of what's there. There is not a good sign. We've got a laser head that's loose and a screw that's loose. So let's just find all the pieces. Let's get a little that looks like it's come adrift. Packaging, power supply, USB connector. Looks like we've got some blanks to play with of plywood and card. A very tiny screwdriver like you get in a Christmas cracker, and some screws, and a USB stick, presumably with the software on it. And then the actual machine itself, which as I say is quite small, will need all the bits of white packaging taking out. Right, well, we've hit the snag more or less straight away. The first thing is the fact that this laser head should be bolted to that carrier plate and isn't, and there's only one screw anywhere to be found that will fit that. There are some other screws to screw the plate on the front, but they're a longer threaded bolt, so I don't want to start using those. Next is the fact that the adapter that they supply you with has got a stupid pin arrangement on it, which is certainly not anything that you will find in the UK. Now we skip ahead a couple of weeks to what is essentially a different one. I wasn't entirely happy about everything I was finding on the last one, and it's just as well, because when I look inside on this one, I've had a replacement new one. There's loads of nice package pieces that hold everything in place. I'm fairly convinced that the last one was either a return or a private seller that had bought one and messed around and then tried to sell it back again as a new one. But this time I've got all the packing there that's foam rather than bits of polystyrene all over the inside of it. The laser is still attached nicely to the carriage. So we'll carry on and try again from there. Oh, and the other thing is, it has a proper UK adapter rather than the other one that had a 2-pin, I don't know whether it's US or what, or European type plug. This one has got an adapter with the proper power supply on it as well. So it's worth, if you've got something that doesn't quite look right. The other one would probably have worked, it would have probably been fine, but there was just something about it that wasn't quite right. So sometimes it's just worth doing a swap. Easy enough with eBay that you can do these things. Now all I need to do is find where to put the, oh yes, there's the plug, goes in there. There is a supplied filter to go on the front to stop you burning your eyes out, and in the meantime I've also taken the opportunity to buy some glasses that will also hopefully stop me getting blindness from watching lasers work. Right, we just switch it on and see what happens. Signs of life. Well, we have a laser beam. Which is actually starting to burn a pattern in the top of the cardboard, so it's a good job I didn't do it on the table. Okay, take a look at what it's done. Yeah, it's just burnt a very nice, oh wow, it's actually burnt through the card and left a little groove in there. Very neat. Right, we'll try and get it programmed in some form. Now, next up is to install the software, which comes on a USB stick. The instructions are basic. I think they're relatively easy to follow, but there is a little bit of problem with the usual Chinglish that doesn't translate quite right, because it tells you to adjust the focus of the laser head to the maximum size, because engraving can't be completed if the light spot is not small enough. So it's a little bit confusing as to whether it should really be big or small. I'm assuming it should be small to get that cut on it, and I'm not going to do anything at the moment by way of adjustment, because it did seem to cut a very nice neat line then. So we will have a look on the stick. I think there are a couple of different versions on here. I've got some pictures, there's a file of pictures which I don't want, and there's a Windows and a Mac application, software version 1.4 and a driver. Laser engraving machine and 2 lots of Chinese, so we'll go for the application in English, and up comes the standard screen with the picture on it, black and white, laser power attached device. Let's hit the attached device. Failed to connect. Well, that's because I haven't got it switched on, so let's try that again. Okay, it does actually seem to have done that. Okay, so we'll import a picture, and I think we can do that straight from the file. It's from the computer, just drag and drop, I think. We'll go to their standard set. Oh, there's a mini logo there. Let's drag and drop that in and see what happens. And that just drops straight into the picture. Okay, please connect to device first. Drag to change locator. Please connect to device first. Attach device. Oh, we've imported a picture. We've got a depth adjustment of engraving there set. I suppose best thing to do is just hit the button and see what happens. Start. See what happens. There's a slider at the bottom just charging up. And something's happening in there. So it does appear to be working. And then you have it. I just need to get rid of that horizontal line where there shouldn't be one in the middle, and that may be to do with the ferocity of the burn on it. But that's just something we can play with over time. So there we are, after a day, less than a day, managed to produce something that has got quite a bit of depth on that engraving. It really is. I could probably have got away with much less. There was a little bit of burning that I've just sanded out, but it's what I hoped it would be. It's given me an insight into working with lasers and cutters more than anything is where I want to be going, I think. But I was a bit afraid that it would all be a little bit techy and hard work, but I've managed to get a logo done onto a coaster within, as I say, less than a day. I'm quite happy with that. It's relatively cheap to start and play with. Now I'm going to move on and try and answer some of the questions that came up on one or two of the forums when I put some pictures up earlier, whether it would print leather, whether it can print pencils and things like that are round. So I'll be doing some more playing over the next few weeks, and hopefully those will come up in a future video when I get a chance to assess this a bit more. But at the moment, very pleased with it, very happy with the results, and hopefully it was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week. See you, bye.
I do have a new toy, but considerably more practical. You are looking at an industrial laser, which emits an extraordinary light not to be found in nature. It can project a spot on the moon, or at closer range, cut through solid metal. I will show you. I think you've made your point, Goldfinger. Thank you for the demonstration. Choose your next witticism carefully, Mr. Bond. It may be your last. The purpose of our two previous encounters is now very clear to me. I do not intend to be distracted by another. Good night, Mr. Bond. Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die. There is nothing you can talk to me about that I don't already know.